All right, so you're gonna need your beef, your beans, and your corn. Yep. Your salsa. I got the mild kind. This is optional, but it just helps. Your extreme wellness tortillas. This is important. They're 60 calories. And then your bold nacho cheese Doritos. So you can choose. I like hard and soft tacos. So that's why, I have both options there. Then your rice and your onion and peppers. So you're gonna dice your onions and you're gonna dice your pepper. I like to have equal parts onion and equal parts peppers. Um, I just like the taste of that. And you're just gonna get your corn and your beans started. I always cook these on medium or a little bit hotter than medium, but I never go to medium high on these. It just cooks too fast and it gets to boiling. So, just a little bit over medium, whatever you call that. So I like to first I put the beef on there and mash it up with this masher. I think this is a potato masher, but I like this thing. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I cook it covered. I cook my beef covered on medium heat because I really don't want the all of the grease to evaporate out. So, I cook it pretty low for that reason. And in the final product, I'm gonna have some of the grease in there or the fat. It just makes it taste a lot better. And I'm not terribly strict. So I like a little bit of that in my final product. So that's why I covered up. And then once it browns a little bit, and I mean a little bit like this, you see, like it's kind of browning, not far from done. That's when I put my vegetables in there. And again, on medium, I leave it on medium heat the whole time. I'm gonna cover it back up once I stir it. And yeah. So now that everything's done, I'm gonna season it now. It's still not safe to taste test it just yet. So it's still some pink in there. I wouldn't trust it just yet. But yeah, I'm gonna season it, and I do end up having to season this twice because as it finishes cooking, um, when it is safe to taste test it, I realized I hadn't seasoned it enough. So you know that. And I use the same seasonings for most of my dishes because these make the biggest difference, the Creole and the all-purpose seasoning here. I don't really notice that big a difference with garlic powder and onion powder and the usual the usual stuff. So these are my favorite. So yeah, now I'm just gonna turn the sides off. They're pretty much done. So now we're just gonna finish up the beef. Also, optional, what I like to do sometimes is I'll scramble some eggs into the beef and vegetables there, and just add some extra protein and some fullness to my burritos and such. But my daughter is allergic to eggs, so we won't be having that. But yeah, just a little tip if you want to stack up on protein. So once everything's done and turned off, I just pour everything into my little meal prep bowl. So it's just the vegetables, well, the beef, the corn, beans, and the rice. I had some leftover rice, so I didn't have to make any more. But yeah, I'm gonna just stir it all up and then put it into these Dorito shit or nacho cheese flavored shells. Those things are fantastic. I that's got to be the biggest addition to my tacos since I don't know since seasoning. And I did have a bias towards the soft tacos at first, but man, I gotta say I've been enlightened. Um, I've been changed. So yeah, I do like both hard and soft tacos. So, and I'm biasing towards the hard tacos now. But here's that sauce I was talking about, the mild version. I've actually never tried the hot one. The mild is fine because I'm gonna put hot sauce on my tacos anyway. So, I'm not as much of a an extreme daredevil as I used to be. So I've become a mild old man. And they have it. Here's my tacos. You could add some spinach or lettuce or whatever else you want. Sometimes I add eggs. Sometimes I add spinach. And most of the time I eat it like this. But they have it.